Hello everybody, hello. Bizzle Blue 38 here with a brand new series and video that I hope you guys really enjoy. My top 10 favorite games, all the way from the PS3 to current gen, which is the PS5. Now, a couple rules. First rule is, of course, I had to have played the game and also beat the game for this to be on my list. Second rule, I have to, each game that is on my list, there's one game from each series. I cannot have multiple games from a series of games. It has to be one game. So in other words, for instance, like, let's say the Uncharted series. I cannot choose Uncharted 1 and then later on choose another Uncharted game. It's got to be one from each developer and series. Those right now are the two rules I have. Also, a disclaimer. Please understand, guys, this is just in my opinion, this is my top 10. This in no way reflects on what anybody else thinks. Everybody has their own favorites. Maybe you agree with some of these, maybe you don't. That's fine. This is just my opinion. I had to do a lot of thinking before I could even start filming this of why I like these games and which number and what order they would go in. So please remember that this is just, in my opinion, this is my top 10. And with that being said, let's get this going with number 10. Now, before I go, one more thing, sorry. Some of these games, obviously, with the PS3, I won't have the physical copy of that game because unfortunately, I didn't keep my collection from my PS3. I really wish I had. I regret that. Nothing I can do about that right now. Also, some of these will be digital. You all know, I'm pretty sure you know, I do not like the whole digital games. But unfortunately, some of the developers decided that they will only do digital. So, that being said, number 10 already is a digital. And that is Baldur's Gate 3. I really wish I had something right here that I could show you, but I don't. Baldur's Gate 3. Excuse me. Now, if you guys know me, and I'm pretty sure some of you do, I have never been a fan of top-down, turn-based style games. It's just never been my thing. So, when Baldur's Gate 3 came out and I looked into it, that's the very first thing I saw. Turn-based style, top-down game. So it took me a while before I decided to get Baldur's Gate 3. I had friends that said, oh, you really have to play this game. And I would respond with, turn-based style game, top-down. Finally, I said, okay, I've heard everything about this game. It got Game of the Year. I'll give it a try. And boy, am I so happy I did. I did debate whether to put this on my list, but I decided I would, and it would have to be number 10 because there's so many others to choose from. Baldur's Gate 3, as I said, turn-based style, top-down. I gave it a try and it blew my mind because, yes, it was turn-based. I've said that like 24 times now, but it's just the way that they did it. I don't know how else to put it. It's just, first of all, the story and the gameplay and the graphics. I mean, that was a huge part of it. and the choices you have. You know, you can go this way, or do this, or you don't even have to do this, you know? But the turn-based they did in this game was so much different than any other turn-based style game that I've ever played. And it made it enjoyable to me. And I have to say this because this is part of why this game blew me away, is the dialogue in this game. Not just for certain characters or main characters or this character. Literally, almost every NPC in Baldur's Gate 3 has tons of dialogue and story and just lore and stuff behind it that's just like the amount of writing that went into this game blows my mind away. The fact that there's so many different endings and options and story decisions that you can make in this game that affect everything. That is, if you know me, you know I love games like that. I love it when it gives you options and decisions that you literally decide the fate of the game, you know, and it's just. So that had to be number 10, and I could go on about that game, but I've got another video to make, or not another, I've got this whole video to make, so we gotta move on. So, Baldur's Gate 3, number 10. Number 9. Dun da da da, roll the drums, dun da da da. Marvel Spider-Man. Guys, this is the first Spider-Man game that I've played in a long, long time. I honestly don't even remember what Spider game I played. It's probably like PS1 or PS2, I can't remember. But this game, the graphics and the story, oh my gosh, the story is just, whew. I don't want to do any spoilers because there's probably some that watch this that haven't played this. I don't know why. But if you haven't played Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man, please, by all means, do it. Not because I am telling you to, but because you won't regret it. It is so good. It's, yeah, I could go on and I don't want to spoil anything, but tears. Let's just put it that way. So, Marvel Spider-Man is number 9. On to number 8. What is number 8, you ask? Dun, da, da, da. Number 8 is Alien Isolation. Now, a little bit about this game. Of course, I watched a tiny bit of gameplay of this game before I got it, and I knew immediately that I have to play this game. And when I finally got the chance to, I did not regret it. It is I'm sure some of you aren't horror fans, just survival horror fans, and I completely understand that. There are some, okay, let me say this. So thank God, I never played Alien Colonial Marines, but I have watched tons of videos on that. I've read about and watched about why it's so bad, how the AI in that game is just, and then this came out, and the developers are Sega and 20th Century, Sega, and I believe they're the same ones that came out with Colonial Marines. I could be wrong, but this game is a complete 360 from what I've seen of Colonial Marines and this. This is pure survival horror at its finest. It's jump scares, but not a lot, and not cheap ones either. And the nostalgia in this game is just mind blowing. I mean, if you've ever watched Aliens, especially the first one with Ripley and the Nostromo, this game is so good. If you're a survival horror game and you haven't played this, pick it up, do whatever, but I couldn't make this one any higher though, because it's a different genre, but it is good, and it deserves to be where it's at, and that is number 8. Number 7. We're already at number 7, guys. Can you believe it? Wow. Number 7 is, roll the drums, please. Dun, 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 dun. Sound effects are just amazing, aren't they? Until Dawn. I remember way back in the PS3 when I saw an announcement. They announced this game for the PS3 and they showed a little bit of gameplay, and I really wanted to play it. The developer is Supermassive Games, and so they announced it, and I was like, oh man, I gotta get that game. It looks so good. And I followed it, and I waited and kept waiting for, and then I heard them say, they announced that they're delaying the game and it will be coming out for the PS4. Now, this is right near the end of I want to say, if I remember correctly, it was right near the end of the PS3's life cycle. But when it finally came out, I snatched it up like that, and I am so glad I did. Wrong side. Until Dawn for the PS4. I completely understand and see why they waited for the PS4, so that they could take advantage of what the PS4 system could do. Not just graphically wise, but some of the mechanics are very needed. And it's things that the PS3 probably couldn't do, like the light bar on the PS4 controller. If you played it, you know. And just the story arcs in this game, the decisions in this game. Again, it's a game. One tiny little mistake, one tiny wrong decision can affect the whole game. And I love that. And I heard they announced that I don't know if it's I believe it's a remake. I believe it's Until Dawn, the remake for the PS5. I don't know if I'm going to pick that up. As much as I love this game, I'm kind of getting tired of these remakes and remasters. It's kind of reminded me of a certain game that we all know. But maybe I will see. But Until Dawn, I mean, there's really not, this game isn't really good as it is, but that is number 7. And if you haven't played it, please do. If you like this type of game. Moving on, we are already at number 6. Again, digital version of the game. They never came out with a physical copy. That game is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice for the PS4. Now, I kind of had to do a little debating. Like I said, this list was very hard to do. Harder than I thought it would be anyway. And I could not leave out Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, because at the time that it came out, it was one of the most unique games I have ever played, because it takes place in the Norse era, mythology and the Vikings and all that. And the main character is Senua, and she has a mental illness, which I believe is schizophrenia. And now this is an indie studio, I believe. I can't remember the name of the studio, but they used one of the most unique what would you call it? It's a game mechanic. Duh. One of the most unique game mechanics I really have ever seen. So because Senua has this mental illness, they implemented this game mechanic in the game where in your headphones they used 3D audio, and you can hear these negative voices throughout the whole game, just laughing at you and mocking you and telling you negative things about yourself and others. And it really immerses you into not just the character, but into the character's mind and what it would be like. It's hard to really show somebody what a mental illness is and what you go through. But this really immersed you into that. When these voices would tell you these negative things, and laugh at you and just like, you're not good enough, you're gonna die, you're gonna lose, don't do this. You feel that weight upon you. And I've never played a game where you feel exactly what the character that you're playing feels. I mean, it's just so... And the story in this game was so beautiful and so good. I really wish I had something to show you again, but I don't, because it's physical. I'm really disappointed and mad though that the second one came out and Xbox decided to buy them out. So naturally and unfortunately, the second part of the game, the sequel to the game, I can't even play because it's Xbox only. And moving on to, wow, we are already at number 5. We're at the top 5, guys. Can you believe it? Number 5. I keep saying this, but this one, wow. I had to really debate where to put this one because I kind of wanted to put it as the top number 1. And I'm still debating that, but it's too late now. Elise was in the top 5. That game, everybody, don't ask, is The Last Guardian for the PS4. And guys, oh my gosh, this game broke me. This game, if you've ever, so the developers of this game is Japan Studios, who also made Shadow of the Colossus, I think like Ico and something, I can't remember the extra name, and then this game, The Last Guardian. A little bit about this game. There is very, very, very little dialogue in this game. You might think that's a bad thing, but it's not. It really enhances the game because there's two main characters in this game. You play as he doesn't have a name in the game that we know of. He's just the boy. You play as the boy, who is this little boy. He meets, along this adventure of his, he meets this creature. I will try to get this is Trico. Trico is this gigantic creature. It's a magical creature. He's got wings. He's got these beautiful horns. He's got the personality of a dog, a personality of a cat, and you interact with them, and throughout the game your relationship with them just starts to grow, and you start to just absolutely fall in love with Trico. I mean, literally just fall in love with Trico, because he is just, I don't even know how to explain it. And there's this narrator that will talk at certain times during the game while you're playing. And I have never played a game like this before, where very little dialogue, as I said. And this game just, at the end, it broke me. I was in tears, and literally, I could not stop thinking about this game even a week after I played it. I was looking up, it's just a little embarrassing, but maybe you guys understand. Hopefully, a week after I played this game, and actually immediately after, but in that following week, I was looking up Trico, like tributes to Trico, or tributes to The Last Guardian on YouTube, and just watching them and just absorb that. You mean, that is why I debated whether this should be number one or not. The thing about this game is it is so very underrated, and that makes me sad, because this game is amazing. There were some reviewers that made me mad on this game, because they were like, well, Trico doesn't always do what you say to do, and the game is wonky, and there's no dialogue, and blah, 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 blah. They don't understand. So the developers, Japan Studios, they saw this, and, especially about how Trico doesn't always do what you tell him to do, because there's these commands that you could give Trico, like sit, or, go fetch that, or stay, and he won't always do that. And the developers explained that, and they said that was purposely put on there because he is a pet. He is like a pet, If you have a pet dog or something, and you tell that dog to do something, they're not always going to do it, because they're an animal and they're a pet. And that is purpose, and I believe it, and I understand it. I don't care what other people say, but that's exactly what Trico was like at times. You would tell him to go do something, and he wouldn't do it. He would just sit there. How many of us have had pets that have not, And that makes it so much, to me, that just enhanced, wow, this is just not, it helped the connection in the relationship. I know that probably sounds weird, but this game broke me, and I don't want to give any spoilers. If you haven't played it, please do. You'll understand why. And this is number 5. We're at number 5 already. Can you believe it, guys? Now, number 4. I don't have the original physical copy of this game, because it was way back in PS3. I wish I did. But number 4 is, this is the Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection, which is all 3 of them that first came out. But the one I picked is Uncharted 2. Now, let me hold that up one more time. So, when this game came out, because I didn't have a PS3 when the first Uncharted came out, so I never got the opportunity to play the first one. But when I got a PS3, one of the first games I picked up was Uncharted 2. And boy, did that game blow my mind away. The characters, Nathan Drake and Sully, and just everybody in that game. And it felt, the way they did it was just like you were in a blockbuster hit summer movie, and you were in it. You were it. You were the main character, Nathan Drake. I still remember the music from it. And that's all the singing I'll do for you guys. Thank you very much. But this game, oh my goodness, it's always gonna be, it's got a place in my heart. Uncharted 2, Uncharted 4 was amazing too. I've still got to finish Uncharted, the one that came after 4. I got to finish that. So Uncharted 2 is number 4. We are at the top 3, guys. The top 3 games on my list. You will never hear me say of all time, because how can anybody say of all time when we're not there yet? Tomorrow a game could come out that could blow all these away. You don't know. We're not at all time yet. So here are my top 3 favorite games from PS3 to PS5. And again, I don't have the original physical copy of this for the PS3, but I do have the sequel to it, which is also a sequel, but also a prequel, and I will explain. And that game is Red Dead Redemption. I have the second one. I wish I would have kept the first one, but I did not. This game is amazing too, by the way. So, but the first one, which the developer is Rockstar Games, and I remember when I got the game and I played it all the way. I could not stop playing it, and I was just like, the graphics, the storyline, everything was just, I never really played a Western game until I played that. And I played Red Dead Redemption, and John Marston and his whole story in the 1800s, takes place in the 1800s. He's part of this crazy gang, and I was hooked. And I was, the end, again, tears. This one, the end, but the reason why I call this a prequel and a sequel and a prequel is because it is a sequel, obviously, because it's Red Dead Redemption 2, but it is also a prequel because this actually takes place before the first Red Dead Redemption. That's a different story though. But that Red Dead Redemption, oh, I love that game. If you haven't played it, please do. Same with this. And now, guys, we are at my top 2 already. Tried to make this as short as I can, but it's really hard when you got something to say about these games, especially these next 2. Number 2. I had, you guys have to, well, I know some of you haven't played this because you don't have like a PS4 or anything like that, but I know you've seen gameplay. If you haven't watched me play this on my channel, then you should. Or if you have the opportunity to play it, or you are able to play it and haven't played it, please do. Number 2 is God of War 2018. Oh my goodness. So I remember when E3 came out, and they announced and they showed the gameplay, the early gameplay, or not gameplay, it was the video or whatever for it, the trailer. Everybody went wild, including me. And then when I played this game, oh my gosh, because I played God of War 1 and 2 way back on the PS2. And I loved those games, but this game, now, you know, some game developers and studios, this is Santa Monica Studios, by the way, right there. Some developers have tried something like this, not something like this game, but they'll have a game or a game series and they'll be like, well, we want to try something totally new. We want to revamp the Soul system and try something totally different. Others have tried that and it never works for, well, not always, but really a lot of times it really ruins it, then makes it better. Not this game. Santa Monica Studios and what is his name? Cory Barlog decided, you know what, we are going to make God of War 2018 totally different. And oh my gosh, this game, the graphics, the gameplay, the story, you already know, guys. I mean, it's totally deserved Game of the Year when it got it. And I love this game. And it solely deserves, it is perfect where it's at on my list as number 2. Video getting longer than I thought it would. Oh well. We are at number 1 already, guys. And ready yourselves. I'm sure some of you might have already figured out what my number 1 favorite game from PS3 to PS5 current gen is. If you haven't figured it out, roll the drum, because dun, da, 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 of course it's The Last of Us. Wow. There's no way I couldn't put this as number 1, and there's no way, this had to be on my list. This is the remastered PS4 version. That's a whole different story, the way they're just trying to milk people for their money with these remakes. And also, what the hell with part 2, right? Am I right? Of course I'm right. Also, I want to say, before I end this, explain more of why I love this game. I want to take back, if any of you have watched my review on The Last of Us Part 2 and the rating I gave it, you know, I should have really thought that out before I did it, but I did that review right after, not too long after I finished it, and I want to take that back. I gave it like a 4 at the most. That's the highest I could give that game, and that's only because of the graphics. The rest of the game, I don't know. Some of the gameplay, like you can like go prone and stuff like that. I mean, that's a 4. Not an 8. I don't know why I gave it an 8 in that review video. It does not deserve an 8. So I'd like to apologize to anybody that watched that video and was like, what the hell? Because that game does not deserve an 8. It deserves a 4 at the very most. 4 out of 10, because, no. Moving on. Gotta get through this. The Last of Us, the PS3 version when it first came out, oh my goodness. The storyline between Joel and Ellie. Now here's the thing, a lot of people, well, okay, not a lot of people, but some of you, to be honest, aren't horror fans. And that's fine, totally understand it. Some of you aren't zombie shoot 'em up games. Again, totally fine, understand it, and either am I. I don't like Call of Duty. Number one is Call of Duty. Just kidding, it's this. Thing is, I don't consider The Last of Us a horror survival game. I consider it a survival game. It does have some horror aspects to it, but it is not a survival horror game. I definitely don't consider this a zombie game because the creatures in this game are clickers, and they have other names, but they're mostly clickers. They are not a zombie like a zombie apocalypse or whatever. They are clickers and they are different. So it's not, to me, it is not a zombie. And the main feature of this game is not the clickers. The main story and the main storyline of this game is Joel and Ellie. From the very start of the game, I don't want to give anything away to anybody that, I don't know why you haven't played this game. Again, if you don't have the opportunity to or the ability to, totally understand that. But I don't want to give anything away. This is about survival. It is about learning to forgive. It is about overcoming obstacles in your life and learning to accept. This is not a survival horror game. This is not a zombie game. This is a game that will blow your mind away if you have never seen gameplay footage of it or have never played it. Highly recommend it. The Last of Us. I will not buy The Last of Us Part 1 remake. Sometimes I'm tempted to, but I'm like, no, I'm not going to give into that. So, The Last of Us is my number one favorite game from PS3 to PS5. And there you have it, guys. My top 10 favorite games. I don't do of all time because I think that's a ridiculous phrase. We're not there yet. Tomorrow there could be a game that comes out that blows everything away. But these are my top 10 favorite games, ranging from the PS3 all the way to the current gen PS5. There you have it. Thank you so much. This has been kind of fun to make. I hope you guys enjoy this. If you do, please comment down below. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. I really appreciate it, guys. You guys mean a lot to me. You guys are the reason why I keep doing my channel, and you guys are my channel. So keep watching. Stay tuned because I am doing streaming right now. I am streaming The Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt. I will be streaming that tomorrow. And thank you guys so much. We will see you guys later. Bye. Oh.